Hello, folks. Watch the check-in to see that we have people coming in. Give it a few more seconds until we get going, but I'd like to welcome you to the Analytics and Data Oracle user community. This is our regularly scheduled TechCast. We do at least two a month. It's been a while since I've hosted, so please forgive me that I stumble a little bit on my introduction and welcoming you all. Again, this is our Analytics and Data Oracle user communities TechCast. It is one of our every 2 months that we sit back and look at what was released from Oracle and pick some of our favorite topics. And today, I have the honor to be included with Dan Vlamis from Huron Consulting, and our two mystery guests are Philippe Leon and Gautam. Oh man, I'm going to butcher your name. Bish Arum. Please correct me. It's from Oracle, and people butcher my last name, so I apologize. And I'm going to put this into present mode so that we don't have to look at the preview slides. And it's not doing what I want to do here. Slideshow. Man, you can tell I'm new at this stuff here. All right.
Wayne, if you want, I can show it, or you just go ahead and do this mode. That'll work.
Yeah, I'm going to do it this mode. I don't know why I'm just totally use presenter view. That's not working either. All right, folks. You know, here's the rookie, and the demo gremlins are really butchering me today. For TechCast, we have our recordings from all the ones that we've done back through the ages off of our website as well as on YouTube. You can look at that through the andouc.org/TechCast. And that'll be the archive of our presentations. Lots of great content out there. Not only just the what's new, but other great new or great topics from the world of our social media. We are out there in the world of almost everything. We have our website, we have our Slack channel, we have YouTube where we post all of these recordings, and then through LinkedIn, and then we have our SIG for Spatial and Graph, Facebook, Blue Sky, and X. So please follow us, join us, and keep the conversation alive. If you see something interesting in the world of analytics and data, please share it with us. We'd love to include you into future TechCasts. So one big event that's going on right now is the Data Visualization Challenge. Please, if you have an opportunity to join, show your data visualization chops and wow the audience with something that you think is a great way to visualize data, tell a story, and make it interesting. So take a look, check the QR here, and get involved. It's looking to be a pretty good competition. There's well over 400 people registered already. So take a look at that. So for those of you who have not been to an Analytics and Data Summit, this is a great opportunity. Some of the brightest minds in the arena for Oracle Analytics are attending this conference. In fact, I think there are more people attending this just pure analytics than I've seen at any other user conference just from an analytics perspective. we're a great group of people, and would love to share what we know. Registration is open, and it's April 8th to 11 to 10 in Redwood Shores. Take a look. AnDOUC Summit 2025.
Hey, I'm going to put Philippe on a spot real quick. Philippe, if I understand, you're doing a hands-on lab at A&D Summit showing where people can actually use this stuff. Sound right?
Yes, exactly.
I'm
Looking
looking
forward
forward
to,
to that. I want to be in your hands-on lab.
yeah, so well, looking forward to
Everybody
being
come
with you
join
guys. Absolutely.
Well,
us. Sorry,
Thanks.
Wayne.
no, it's all good. It's all good. You know, we're better together here. So today, this is what we're looking at from a schedule of our features and what we're doing and what we're learning and sharing here. I will be covering the EPM and SBase in the semantic layer modeler that's now available outside of the regular admin tool. And I'll cover a little bit on selection steps. Gautam is going to give us a little intro onto the geometry data type in OAC, as well as some neat new features on dynamic distance driving or driving distance. Philippe will cover some contextual insights, unlimited map layers, and another feature that I just heard and I don't remember what it was. And then Dan has a boatload of stuff coming up behind that. So with that in mind, I need to figure out how to get this PowerPoint not viewing like I wanted to and get into my demo. So hold on tight. All right, I just boogered something up here. All right, can you see my screen on the semantic modeler?
I see edit semantic model, Wayne.
Awesome. All right, folks. So in the semantic modeler, we now have the ability to import multidimensional data, EPM or SBase. So we would create a connection. That connection then gives us a list of cubes that we're going to work with. And we then move into creating a physical layer. To do that, we just say, hey, I want to do an EPM database cloud. From there, we then pick from that connection which cube we want. In my case, I've already done my EPM 17. I picked up the OEPFS. That is now the hierarchy of my dimensions and my members. From there, we would go to the BMM layer or the logical layer, and we create a business model. And from here, we would then, oh man, sorry for the coughing. We would just take in this. Okay, someone needs to tell me what I just did wrong. You know, I did this once before and now I can't remember what I did to do this. But the idea is that we would drag in from the left to the right, from the business model and the physical layer, the cube that we have. Guys, I'm floundering here. Here we go. So it just showed up. Interesting. And then again to the presentation layer. This is easier than the regular modeling tool. So just by linking it, it's automatically pulling through. In the past, you would have to drag them into each section of the modeling tool. So this then creates the layer that the user would see, the presentation layer. Again, with the hierarchy that you're used to. The one thing that might be something to think about is in the presentation layer, getting rid of some of the aliases that you don't need. All right, we have aliases for different languages. It just gets muddy when you're looking at it in the actual visualization DV screen. So this part is where I would come in and remove some of these different language aliases.
It's interesting, Wayne, seeing what the EPM stuff, S-base cubes look like. It brings over everything. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and this is the part, yeah, especially in these language aliases, if you don't need them, get rid of them. Because when you're looking at it in the actual DV screen, it becomes really troublesome and a lot of scrolling, right?
Yep.
So once that's done, and we'll just take a look here. The one thing I've noticed is that my substitution variables are not coming through, and this is something I'm going to bring up to product management to find out why or how to bring them in. Because especially in the world of EPM, there are a lot of substitution variables that we use to control what period we're in, what year we're in, things like that. So something to take note of. But it's definitely an improvement over not having the ability to bring in an EPM cube or an S-base cube. So the next piece that I'm going to talk about are the selection steps that have been enabled. So here I have just a simple data set off of an EPM connection. I did not promote my semantic model into this environment because I have other things going on with it. So I just wanted to show that in the world of selection steps, EPM has and S-base has the concept of the hierarchy that is very much the concept or the way we deal with data. So in the period dimension, of course, we have the period and then the year total. And why this cube is so slow is bugging me. However, if we drag the hierarchy up into the filter bar, we now have the ability to do the keep only, the removes, the adds, the things that we're used to doing with a right click inside of the smart view of the data. We have if I have the plus in front of it, that means keep the level I'm on, and then it's children or it's parents, descendants, whatever. Otherwise, if I just want the children of or the leaves of, then I would use the one without the plus. So if I say children of my year total, let's try this again. Demo gremlins really have me today. This worked yesterday. Why are you not working today?
I'm showing you what.
It's not giving me my numbers. However, again, I am at the mercy of the demo gremlins today. This should have my list of the remember these levels below period, and it's not giving me that. It did yesterday when I practiced this, and yeah. All right, folks, I have just been beat down by the demo gremlins.
Wayne, one of the things I want to make sure the audience knows is that the key thing in selection steps, the way I tend to think of it is, it's separate from filters. Filters the data,
Yep.
but selection steps filters what is shown. It's the ability to include totals, include data that you don't end up showing. That's what we're so excited about now, having the ability to have selection steps in the data visualization piece.
Yeah, it's after the data turned, it's changing what's going on.
Yep. This is good. Play with it. We've always wanted it from the classic version.
Yep. Yeah, with a regular filter query changes what's being brought back. Selection steps changes what's already brought back.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, I just totally bombed on my portion of this presentation.
We'll pick you up.
All right, let's change this out. So up next, got him. Take it away, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Right. Hello, everyone. Greetings to all. I'm a member of the Oracle Analytics product management team. And today I'll be giving an overview of geometry data type, which is one of our exciting features that got released as part of the November 2024 release within Oracle Analytics Cloud. And it will also be part of the upcoming Oracle Analytics Server as well, which is the 2025 version. As part of today's demo, we will also be showing a very nice function, which we have not really shown as part of our official videos. So it's going to be out through this specific session. So thanks for organizing this event as well. Even before getting into the nice functions that we'll be discussing at the later part of my demo, I would like to give you a very brief overview of geometry data type. So geometry data type is a geospatial data type, which is like a collection of geographical coordinates that let you connect and draw points. It could be point, it could be line, it could be polygon, or it could be a multi-polygon as well. So just to give you an example, the current screen that I'm sharing, it's a canvas which has represented different types of geometrical data objects. So we have different polygons that are drawing or illustrating the different states and counties. We have a storm path and a storm buffer here. They are like represented by a collection of lines. So in a nutshell, they're all represented as part of our geometry data type. So to give you how we have illustrated this example, if I click on this specific example, you can see that I've selected a very specific data type, which looks with the earth and location symbol. And that's how you differentiate the geometry data type from the other kind of data types like attributes or measures. And just to give you a feel of how it looks like in the preview mode, even before when it comes to the data visualization pane, when you try to create a data set based out of a geometry data set, it will be appearing like this. Now, there are two data sources we support for geometry data type. It could be coming in from a CSV. And from a CSV, we support the well-known text. We call it WKT format. And we also support geometry data type through an Oracle database. It could be a traditional database or it could be an autonomous database as well. And we also support the geometry data type through the standard SDO geometry data functions that the spatial part of Oracle database support. So in a nutshell, we support geometry data type through either well-known text, which is coming from a CSV, like this specific data set it shows the CSV, or it could be coming in from an Oracle database as well. So it's the same data set that we have replicated into a CSV as well as from the database. And once you prepare the data set and once you identify the geometry data set, then you will be able to illustrate these examples. Now, additionally, on top of the geometry data type, you also have the functionality to write few geospatial calculations as well. So say, for example, if I want to identify, let's say I have the different counties or the different states here, and I have the storm path going in. If I want to identify all those counties that are falling within the storm buffer, so all these counties that they are all falling inside the storm buffer, or if I want to accurately find out which all counties are touching the distance or touching the borders of the storm path or the storm line, I can even identify that as well. Now, how do you write a geospatial calculation? It's very simple. You click on the create calculation, and we have a new spatial function under the calculation library. So you basically will be able to calculate the area, calculate the distance, calculate the length, or you'll be able to relate objects. So this specific example that we are showcasing here, it is trying to relate whether one geometry shape is inside a different geometry shape, whether it is touching the borders of a different geometry shape, or if it is falling outside of the geometry shape as well. So you'll be able to relate different geometry. And maybe one more information that we need to highlight here is within the spatial calculations, a series of calculations support only one geometry data type. So say, for example, the distance one, it is supposed to calculate the distance between two geometry points. So it supports two different geometry data types here. And if I just select, let's say, a length, this only shows me one column because it will identify the length of a very specific geometry shape. So in a nutshell, the geometry data type can be coming in from a CSV as part of a well-known text, or it could be coming in from a database as well, and you will be able to write the spatial calculations as well. So now let's move on to the example part of it, for which I'll again be taking it step by step. Like I highlighted, geometry data type, it could be points, or it could be lines, or it could be polygons, or it could be multi-polygons as well. So I have a geometry data type here. I just need to double click on one of the geometry column, and it get automatically rendered as part of the map here. Now, if I want to render a different geometry data type on top of this, so say, for example, I have the different customer assets here. And if I want to include a storm line here, I can visualize the storm line using a geometry, which is again a collection of different points that mark up the storm line, and it appears like this. Now, so let's take it step by step. One more example will be like, let's say if I want to identify point once again. So let me draw the map here. I go here, I click on the location pin. So now this is just a location. So now let's identify what extra we can do on top of the geometry data type. So right now we are only visualizing a point here. Now we have certain nice functions within, let's say, an Oracle DB that will enhance the overall feature of geometry data type. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to find out how far I can drive from this specific point in 15 minutes or in 30 minutes. In the calculation, we have hard-coded it as 30 minutes. So I'm going to expand my data set. I'm going to add a new layer here. And I'm going to include my drive area. And what this will basically do, it is trying to now identify how far I can drive within 30 minutes from that specific point. So I can bring my location pin on top of the driving distance so that it is much visible. And now you'll be able to like give it a background layer. You can change the transparency. You can change the overall look and feel of it as well, which we'll be doing as part of the first canvas that I opened. And in order to again showcase the different features. So now what we'll do, so we had this point, and right now what we did, we drew a buffer zone, which is basically the driving distance on how far I can drive from that specific point in 30 minutes time. And now let's also explore what I can do with that specific point, whether I can draw a route between two different points. So I can again get my map here. I can drag and drop my map here. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to drag my location pin here. So this location pin is again identifying. So this is the location pin. So let me add a different data layer here. Okay. So I have the shortest path here. I get my route here. So now if you see, it is trying to identify the shortest path of a route from that specific point to a different specific point. So what we have done, we have basically leveraged the SQL statements as part of the spatial functionalities that an Oracle database support. I'll also be showcasing the different SQL statements that we have used here. Now, one more point from a demo perspective is how to enhance the overall feel of what I've been using till now. So we have been trying to represent the different types of geometries like points, lines, polygons. We have been trying to draw the different routes, or we have been trying to find out the buffer zone on how far I can drive in relation to a very specific point and time. And what we can do further, we can also enhance it with the example of, let's say, session variables. So if I get session variables here, what I can do, I'll be able to enhance the overall insights. So it's the same canvas that we have been taking a look at here. It's the same type of geometrical objects. I have the storm line, I have the different customer assets, I have a driving route, I have a driving buffer zone, as well as I have a driving route. Now let's try to map it to the story here. So the story is like, I have a storm line, I have different customer assets here. So just for example, if I get into one of the geometry layer here, and if I zoom in, so you have this buffer here, right? So I'll be able to override a buffer here. So let's say if I say it 100, and if I click on apply, it is now going to draw a buffer. So you can see that the buffer is now growing. So I can now make it, let's say 300 kilometer. And if I want to identify a 300 kilometer buffer of that specific storm line, I'll be able to draw it. And now after drawing these buffer lines, we also see, so just from a visual look and feel perspective, I'm going to just reset it back to 50 kilometers. And we identify the different routes here. So I can just take one example here. So you have the customer ID 36, and from the operational database, I can see that between for that specific customer ID 36, I have a street address as well as I have a rescue center as well. So now if I want to key in a source address and my target address, which is my rescue center, I'll be able to just key in my source address and target address here, and just click on the apply button, and it will immediately draw the route. So this way, you will be able to identify the different buffer zones, as well as it enables you to draw the shortest path between two different points based on SQL functions. Now, to show you how we have drawn these SQL functions, I need to walk you through the data sets there. So let's quickly get into the data, and let me open the driving distance one. So if I just say, for example, this driving distance polygon V3, if I open the SQL definition of it, you'll see that it is basically a single SQL statement. It is leveraging a very specific spatial functionality called as eloc iso polygon from the autonomous database. I'm passing two session variables here, which is built in through the web semantic model of Oracle Analytics. I'm giving my address, my country, and then it automatically identifies the buffer zone for 30 minutes from where the point starts.
So
now,
Gautam, if you enter any address in your prompt, this will automatically calculate it and generate the polygon, is that right?
It will. Let me probably show you a live example as well. So if I go here, right. So this is basically the Oracle Office. And if I want to override this, I can just enter my address and click on apply, and it automatically takes you to the second address that I shared. So the same thing, we are just enhancing the specific canvas wherein like we are able to now draw the different, even we can use the session variables to drive the route between a source and a destination as well. So you just key in your keywords and you just click on apply, and it automatically draws the line. And how you draw this line is basically what we demonstrated here. So it's basically the SQL statement. And in this specific example, it is leveraging the ISO polygon definition from the Oracle database. And this is how you can geocode an address. If you want to simply showcase a point based on an address, you can use the geocoder capabilities from within the Oracle database. Or let's say, for example, if I go back, I can go into the data. If you notice, I was also showcasing one more example wherein if I go here, I was changing the buffer here and it was automatically changing the buffer as well. So to draw the buffer, what we are doing, we are again using a very specific database function called SD_buffer. So that works on top of your already existing data set, and by overriding it with one more session variable, in this case, I'm using a session variable for the code, and based on the code, it will automatically adjust the buffer distance as well. So this way, you'll be able to club your geometry data type with advanced functions from your Oracle database. So in the interest of time, I'll make a quick stop here. Philip, you'd like to add anything now?
I think this is very powerful. Thank you, Gautam. You are basically making the most of all the spatial capabilities in the database simply by having a data set in OAC that calls these functions live and renders geometry, which you visualize on a canvas. I think this is extremely powerful. And if anybody wants help with such demos, this is all GA. You can do it today, and we're happy. Gautam and I will be happy to help you if you need any support for that. Okay, in their interest, thank you very much.
Good stuff.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne.
Before you move on, I had a question for you on this. It looked like the driving distance, you have to invoke, using a SQL function to do that, which is very powerful, opens up all of the spatial capabilities. If that was in the spatial calculations, would we be able to do it just using the front end in OAC? What I just looked and I don't see in the spatial calculations a driving distance. There's geometry distance, but not, am I thinking right, Philippe?
You're thinking right. The logical SQL functions that exist in OAC are limited. And for advanced examples like what Gautam was showing, calculating a buffer, calculating a driving route, calculating a driving distance, a geocoding, this requires you to manufacture the SQL as the definition of your data set at this point. And so it's a one step further, one level up, if you wish.
Yep.
But it's once it's configured, it's extremely powerful, as you could see.
So driving distance, put in an enhancement request then for, add that to the spatial calculations. We'd love to see it. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, it is very powerful. And it works worldwide, not just US.
Yeah, that's great. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hey, thanks. So in interest of time, I want to take a very quick moment on, I actually want to talk to you about 3 features very quickly. One of them has to do with maps as well, but if you're not using geometries, if you're using maps in Oracle Analytics, you probably are familiar with this token here, which is about uploading backgrounds layers or reference layers. And you may be familiar with the fact that map layer size are limited to a total of 200 megabytes altogether. This is changed and it's now released, and now you can notice that there are layers with a default storage type and an external storage type. And what this means is you can, when you upload layers, you have an option to choose external or default. In this case, it is external. And if I hover over this little information icon, the internal default storage is 200 megabytes, which you're familiar with probably. I let you read the external storage limit is 50 gigabytes. So the pain point of not being able to load many layers is now removed. Don't be scared. External means part of OAC, simply not loaded into Oracle Maps server. So as far as you're concerned, it is within OAC. The word external is just saying external to the maps viewer server, but it doesn't require any configuration for you. External is still within OAC. And by the way, it tells you that a little bit of this big layer still made it in the internal storage. That's to allow it for it to exist in the map indexes, but the bulk of the data is stored in the OAC file set. So some of you I know have been dealing with map layers and have hit this limitation. It's gone now in the January release already, but in the March release even more so. You will have the ability to upload your layers as external. There is no difference in the performance. It's all transparent for you, except that it allows you to break that barrier. So that was one feature I wanted to quickly talk about. Another quick, yes, I see a question from Mariam. You can use WMS and XYZ services as background. In fact, if you're still watching my screen, here you can add a background, web map service or tile web map for XYZ. And these could be services. I don't know that I have one. Well, this is an XYZ example right there. So that is for a background. You can see here the XYZ, and I don't have a WMS here that I'm seeing, but you can do that. There is a video on the YouTube channel as well for this. Next quick feature I want to also highlight is if you're building, okay, how about this one? Okay, I have a visualization with many grammar fields, like a correlation matrix, and possibly all these columns come from multiple folders from a subject area, and it's been painful for me to grab them, all of them, and I want to reuse this. Now, you can see copy columns as an option here in the grammar, which is pretty handy because if I now, suppose I have another, how about product category? Another viz, sorry. Okay. And I would like to add these into my other viz. Paste compatible. And all my columns now make it in that viz. Now compatible because sometimes not all the columns you may have copied can be used in the same grammar. This can help you if you're an author designing reports and you've been through the pain of dragging and dropping all of these objects. Just quick preview of that feature. Actually, not a preview. It's a feature. I believe it's actually it is January, so you should be able to use it right away today. Last, I want to talk to you about contextual insights, and I'm watching the clock here to leave some time for Dan. So contextual insights is a feature that has been released in January, which allows consumer users to benefit from augmented capabilities in Oracle Analytics. So this is my canvas, and I'm watching it in a consumer mode, and I don't have access to DV, so to designing reports, but still, as I'm looking at my different visas, I would like to see more details. I just don't have access to building any visualization. So there is no new menu that will let you, as a consumer, dive into more details for a selection you have done. In this case, I've selected literacy and language into some donations project, and the system will go behind the scenes, look at the data set, and the data set could be made up of different tables. It'll scan the whole data set and figure out where it finds some interesting insight that pertain to literacy and language and donation value. And in this case, it found out that literacy and language, which is the orange bars, is shaped this way according to resource category, which is technology, supplies, books, strips. So donations have happened a lot for books and a lot for technology, whereas every other bars in that I didn't select altogether have a very different shape. So this guy here that I selected has a very remarkable feature with books, they get a lot more donation for books. It's probably a reason why they're #1 there. Now, if I keep going on, I will see different insights of the same kind and some correlation information. I can thumbs them down. I can bring them into my watch lists if I want to look at them again. Like, for instance, here we can see that the orange shape, which is my selection, has a lot more value for kindergarten than the rest of the data, and a lot less value for grades 6 to 8 and grades 3 to 5, which could explain why they're getting a lot more money. I don't know. So these are insights that the system found. Of course, this is taking into account any context. So if I filter and if I select 2 different bars or 3 or as many as I want, this will explain my my selection versus whatever is left in my data set, and it'll probably find some other breakdown here in my data set. It's again resource category, but you can see that in this case, whatever I select doesn't get money for books, they get money for supplies, and on like this, and it'll qualify and rank different insights for the consumer. Now, this works on any canvas. You just have to enable it, and enabling it can be done by simply, so this is my canvas, and if I have I'm the author, there's not anything specific that I need to do here. I can go into my old canvas before January, come to these, turn on explain visualization in the properties tab. That's it. Now the menu will show up. Now, some cases will not be supported, and it will explicitly tell you that, but you can simply go to your canvases and turn this on. If you do not populate anything in the grammar pane, the algorithm will span and scan all of the columns in the data set. If I do want the algorithm to only focus on maybe some candidates for explaining, I don't want it to break down by anything else than what I'm giving here, then actually, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but this will limit the algorithm to find insights only with these columns right there in the related columns. And you can see here, this is school district, which is one of them. So it found some stuff. So obviously, it's ugly because I have way too many school districts. But so I forced it to give me something that is not good looking. Now, last 1 minute, the good news is that this capability is working with subject areas. So I'm just going to create a viz with a subject area. This is a subject area. So I see states and average donations by project and average students reached. And I'm going to look at maybe this group that has lots of money by project, but don't reach a lot of students. Is there anything that is remarkable for them? Actually, why don't I turn the feature on first? So if I turn it on, it'll show me the menu. But in the case of a subject area, you cannot go without populating related columns. So if you populate related columns, it will work. But if you don't, for a subject area, it will not work. So what does that mean? I just need to bring a bunch of things about this. Resource types, whatever. I'm just going to pick up stuff and have a date as well. Now I have populated related columns. So I'm telling the algorithm, go and hunt within these columns, and I can have as many columns as I want here. And it found that there is a breakdown. Primary focus area shows a little bit of a difference between whatever I have selected and the rest of the data. And if I carry on, it will show me something else. Well, whatever I have selected has a very different trending than the rest of the data, and on like this. Hopefully you can see some value that you could derive with this feature. Again, we're happy to help you with this. It's available since January, so feel free to go and use it. We are enhancing it a lot in March and April. So, I'm sorry, March and May. So expect that this will grow better as we go. Thanks for your time. Hopefully I left you enough time, Dan.
Sounds good. Thanks, Philippe. All right. Well, I have a few things to show you all. And I'm going to focus on 4 things. And if we have time, I'll include a couple other things if we have time. One of them is we now have the ability to have hidden columns and control over extra columns. You may ask, why would you want the ability to hide columns? There are cases where you want to have something as part of the analysis, but you don't want to actually show it to the audience. So in this example, I took this from the Oracle example, kind of extended it. This customer name, you'll notice, is sorted by last name if you look at it carefully. I created a extra column, probably should have done this in the data prep step, but I wanted to show this capability. So if I look at a calculations, you can see I have customer last name, and I created it as a calculation by finding the space in the customer name, the old tried and true method for finding the last name. And so I created a column so I could do this, but notice that it's not being shown even though I'm sorting by it. So if I come in here and look at what I'm sorting by, I have a custom sort on customer last name, but it's not shown. Notice the customer last name is in the visualization, but being hidden. I can easily undo the hide by doing that, and now you can see how I actually was pulling this off. So I have an extra column. This is useful for all sorts of things. One of the things also I may want to do, maybe we don't want to see the order IDs, but I also want to be able to do something. And notice I have a customer ID in here as well. I can right click and I can open Google. This is a data action on this, and I'm Googling this 91434. What is that? That is the customer ID. Notice it shows up in the tooltip for customer ID and order ID, and even though it's not being shown. So you can do all sorts of things. The other thing I've done is I have created this quick action, a data action for customer details. And whoops, I picked the wrong one. So I'm going to click on Juanita Ballard. Notice that the top orders for her, this is only showing the top 10 sales and the orders for the top 10, and that's worth 20,000 when I look at our top orders. But when I look at the customer details for Juanita, even though that's 20,000, click on that, and now it comes up to 24,000. This is going to another canvas in my workbook, and I can see all of these and see all the different orders for that person. Here's the one we're focusing on, but I can see the others as well. That's all controlled by when you do a data action. When you create these data actions, you can control. If I open up the customer details, you can see what parameters I'm passing. I'm passing the customer ID and having it as a pop-up, and being able to show what the details are behind all of Juanita's orders. So this hidden capability has all sorts of abilities on that. I want to also show another example of where this becomes useful is this type of visualization. Let's call this a poor man's calendar visualization, where I want to be able to show days across. So we have a column of ship date by day. Notice weekday is across, and then down I have my month going down, but then I have another column that's going down as well for the week. And if I unhide this, you'll see what's going on. The ship date week is an extra column here that shows the week number going down, but maybe I don't want to use up that visual real estate. And so I can hide that column, yet it affects the grain of the data that's being shown. So if I hide that column, notice that this goes down and that column gets hidden, yet the data is still dimensioned by that. It's broken down by each of the weekdays. So it has those going down, and I can see the data for each of those, even though it's a hidden column. If we were to totally remove week from this, of course, it collapses to a monthly view of the data. So this is something very powerful to be able to include additional parts of your calculations. that are not displayed to the end user. Another piece I want to show is the ability to, I'm going to use this hide column piece to show conditional formatting. In this, I extended this a little bit. I've got an extra column here called order priority that I'm hiding for originally when I was showing. If I unhide that, you can see I have a conditional format for what the order priority is for each of these customers. And you can see we are putting in pink the critical order priorities. Now, what I did to do that was I used conditional formatting. Conditional formatting, actually, I don't see people use it a whole lot, but it has been there for quite some time. I turned on order priority and critical order priority. If I manage the rules, you see what I've done in here. Here's my critical order priority. And I said, take the column order priority or whatever I want in here. And you can even use things outside of the visualization. But make it pink. Here's my palette picker for when order priority is critical. And you can see there's a very powerful capability in here. What's new is the ability to select these attributes columns. We've always had the ability, or for a while, we've had the ability to have conditional formatting in something like sales, but now we have all of the different attribute columns in here as well. And so we have the ability to color code those or do other types of formatting, make it bold, make it bigger, all sorts of things. And as well, if I come in here and turn on conditional formatting on the customer name, I can actually have a rule, and I may want to hide order priority. Now I can highlight the customer name based on order priority and have those that are critical appear in pink. The way I did that, if you come in here and look at the manage rules, you'll see down at the bottom, I have the column I want to highlight is customer name based on order priority is critical. So what is being highlighted does not need to match. Notice there's also the ability to do this at the workbook level, at the visualization level. You can blend the rules together. You can have it stop, all sorts of things for what you're going to show. Very powerful capability that be careful in using it. However, you can create a mess visually on your screen. Use it judiciously. All right, so that's what I wanted to show with that. Let me come back in another example, show you another piece, the ability to hide and show various workbook visualizations. This is in the November 2024, so this has been out for a while, but we haven't done a webcast on this. You'll notice that this is overlaid. There's multiple visualizations stacked on top of each other here. And let me show you what it looks like when I run this in the user experience. When you see this, you only see one of these at a time. When I click through sales, I see one visualization. When I click quantity, I see a different one, discount. And notice these tiles are going across as I change this. The way that's accomplished is in here, we have a new property, the ability to hide and show a viz. So for sales, for instance, we have this visibility parameter that's based on measure, and we only show that when measure is set to sales. And this parameter up here is doing a filter control on measure. We're using this parameter called measure, and that's what's controlling which viz is being shown. If I click on this visualization, this tile, you'll notice that the property for this guy, the visibility parameter, is set to only show quantity ordered when measure is equal to quantity. There's more in here. If you look at the demos that Oracle shows, there's more capabilities in this show and hide, and pretty powerful capability, the ability to show and hide individual visualizations based on a parameter. The other thing I wanted to show was the homepage custom groups. So in here, we now have the ability to include custom groups. Now, this is something in an instance that we have access to that shows samples showing various capabilities. And that's in a custom group called January 2025 updates. That is independent from the catalog structure. So if I come in here and customize my home page now, I can change. These are some watch lists that I can look at. There's also the ability to have custom groups. And this has been around for a while to change the order in which these various categories appear. Notice I have at the top what's new, then favorites, workbooks, and so forth. And then I've got the September updates and such, and I can change the order of those. What I also have the ability to do is turn on and off these various custom groups. So now I see down here, there's this piece of, where is it? Down here, the November updates, this November experience. If I want to add that to my custom group, I created a custom group called Test Custom Group. I can also create a new custom group here. If I add it to Test Custom Group, I can add it as the first element. And now that workbook will appear up here. Now under Test Custom Group, I have November 2024 experiences. So that's how users can control their own homepage, add things to groups, organize them. You can click on this View All to see all of them instead of just the first 2 lines. You can control how many lines it appears, all sorts of things. So we have a lot more control over our homepage now as well. That's what I especially wanted to show. I'll also do just a quick turn things over to Wayne. And Wayne, if you want to just give a quick plug on the A&D Summit. So thanks, everybody. If you have questions, shoot them in the Q&A or reach out to me. I'm at dvlamis@hcg.com. Thanks.
Folks, we're wrapping it up. Appreciate the time that you have given us. We have some links that are giving you an idea where we're at, what we're talking about. We have the new features links. We have the Oracle's Analytics YouTube channel. Awesome content out there that Philippe and his team have been working hard to produce. Take a look at that. For TechCast, again, take a look at our catalog of past and future webcasts that are coming up. If you are interested in presenting a TechCast, we would love to have you be part of our experience. There is a lot of great content that you all have that we would love to hear from. So please, if you're interested, shoot us a submission through our abstract submission portal, and we would get you into the future lineup of what we have coming. For closing out, we have our, again, analytics and data user community, our summit in 2025. It will be April 8th through 10. Great content. Would love to have you join us out here in Redwood Shores. It is one of the best places to be to learn about analytics and data stuff. The hands-on labs are awesome. The presentations are great. And again, would love to see you out there if you have the opportunity to join us. It's not an expensive conference, I'll tell you that much, compared to some of the other ones. But it's for the dollars, it's worth it.
Wayne, I put links in there to some of the stuff in the chat for everybody.
Awesome. Cool. With that, folks, appreciate you giving us an hour of your day, and I hope that you've learned something other than the fact that Wayne really does not demo well today.
No problem.
The gremlins hit me bad. So, folks, thank you very much. Please have a great day. Make it a great week, and we'll see you at the next TechCast.
Thank you.
And thank you for the team from Oracle joining us, Philippe and Gautam. Thank you for your time.
Bye, guys.